We are Eagle Hills 4th graders.
And you're listening to the West Ada podcast.
Yay!
It really is emotional. One of the things that Dave and I talk about a lot with the parents and the board is that when we're looking at all of these, dots on the map and geocoding these kids, we know they're not just dots. These are human lives that are impacted
100%.
by these decisions that we're making. So having the parents involved in that, we know that moving one kid can impact 5 people in the family, if you've got kids at different ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the West Ada podcast. And today we're talking boundaries, and there are so many moving parts to how we utilize boundaries.
Yes. Well,
and
every move has an alternate move to it. You know what I mean? It's like
100%.
dominoes.
It all affects. And so we're joined by a couple. And I'm so glad that you're here to join us for this, because we want our parents and patrons to really be invested in the process. And because it's not going away. Nope. We're going to keep talking about this. But a couple of amazing people really take point on this for us.
And I'm always so impressed by our colleagues and their unique perspectives and skill sets. So we have Miranda Carson. She's our Director of Transportation and
Planning.
Thank you. Transportation and planning.
She moves a lot. I mean, there's
so many logistics.
Well, and so many data points, and we talk about that a little bit in the podcast, but there are so many data points when you're talking about this.
And then Dr. Dave Reinhart, he is our Chief Operating Officer, so he kind of oversees all those kinds of things: transportation, planning, food, nutrition, building maintenance, procurement, all kinds of things. He'll get into that. But
there's so much that happens, and just for them to be able to, well, anyway, and they how one of the things that West Ada does that I think is so neat is we really do involve the planning committee and getting parents involved and patrons
parents
involved.
are the planning committee, right? And just so much input and so much opportunity for parents to provide feedback.
Well, like I say, we're so glad that you're here to listen and be a part of this podcast, because as I mentioned, this issue is not going anywhere. We're growing and things expand and contract, and it's something that is a constant.
It's just it's a necessity. It has to happen.
Well, we're glad you're here. Check this out.
Miranda and Dave, welcome to the West Ada podcast. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's good to have you both here.
Now, we get the pleasure of working with you and knowing the very detail-oriented jobs, big jobs that you both have. Why don't you share a little bit about your background and what you do for us? Miranda, we'll start with you.
Okay, I'm the Director of Transportation and Planning, so I do all things transportation, everything busing and boundaries is what I tell people.
And that's a lot. Like, you make it sound simple,
but it's a tiny little job.
It's just a few logistics here and there.
Yes.
A lot of balls in the air.
A lot of balls, a lot of buses rolling every day, a lot of kids to place in buildings and...
Well, and we're the largest transportation system in the state, right?
We are. We have the most unique riders of any system in the state.
Yeah, so that's not a small job you have there.
Yeah.
Dr. Reinhart?
My job is I get to work with great people like Miranda, and I tell people that I get to oversee busing, boundaries, bagels, so school nutrition, buildings, and buying, so procurement. A lot of the operational departments of the district. I don't do necessarily the day-to-day detailed work, but I get to work with the talent that does do that work, like people like Miranda, and encourage and support them and try to make their lives a little bit easier.
Well, encourage you do, that's for sure.
Your role, both of you, your roles are huge. And boundaries, obviously we're talking boundaries today. Why was now such an important time? I mean, Miranda, maybe we'll start with you. Why is now such an important time to talk about boundaries?
Yeah, so we have Independence Elementary opening, which is so exciting in Star. And so it made sense that now was the time to revisit the boundaries, because obviously we need Independence Elementary to have a boundary. And as we put a boundary in for that, it's going to shift kids down to the south. So it's this ripple effect. So it was a logical time to get started on it.
Yeah, and I mean, Star Elementary, if anyone's been there at like...
Oh, gosh.
I don't know, an hour leading up to school start and an hour after school start, it is a traffic nightmare. There are so many kids at that school.
Yeah, they had to have some portables installed. Dave could probably tell us exactly how many, but they needed some portables, which it's an emergency capacity. It's not something we typically want to put kids in portables.
Right.
So yeah, we made some adjustments and we got our kids the best education we could out there. And now that we have this beautiful new building, we can give them some relief and pull back.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Reinhart, part of our job on the communications team is we get to help ensure that the word is spread and, the message is out there to parents. Will you kind of give us a little overview of what the boundarying process looks like, or reboundering, or whatever we call it? What does that kind of look like from the very, the talks start and then what happens?
Absolutely. The process really is long, and even to arrive at these boundaries that we have now that the board has voted in,
Sure.
That probably is a 1.5 year process.
Wow.
It really starts with the idea of Miranda and I sitting down on a regular basis, looking at enrollments, looking at what in building capacities,
Sure.
and starting to get a sense all the time as we meet of what might be too full, what schools might be too full, and what schools might have some capacity for other students. We're really trying to make sure at the district level that we optimize our buildings, that we don't have any buildings that are too empty with empty classrooms. We're still heating and providing air conditioning for those,
Sure.
furniture. And there's also something good about being in a school that has enough students, that there's some energy, there's some programs that we can offer. So we don't want it to get too empty, and we don't want it to get too full, because when it's too full, we tend to have behavior problems. We tend to have people bumping into each other more. People are sitting closer in classrooms. So Miranda and I are monitoring that regularly. Miranda's doing the detailed GIS work of that and geocoding, like we know where every kid is.
The amount of data that you guys have, oh my gosh, the amount of data is crazy.
And then we're looking at it big picture, and then we take it to the committee, and really the magic happens when we invite people in from the community and just provide all the information for them. They really know, they feet on the ground, they really know what's happening in terms of like where the traffic gets stopped up. They know where the bridges are. They know where the railroad crossings are. That sometimes we're just looking at them on a map. And so they really provide a richness.
Well, let me ask you about that. I mean, specifically, you're talking about the planning committee. One of the things I think that's really cool is that we do get parents involved. We do get patrons involved who, to your point, kind of have a boots on the ground kind of knowledge. Why is it so important from your perspective to have that knowledge?
Sure, absolutely. Because, like I said, they ultimately they know the things of their neighborhood, but more than that, we could provide them a plan and then ask them for input. They literally make the plan. Like, we provide the data, they literally make the plan. We help answer questions, we help adjust. I think because they're parents, because they live in the community, because they care, they make a better plan than Miranda and I. We could sit in our office and move lines all day long. They make a better plan.
Yeah, well, let's be real. I mean, you talk about boundaries. I mean, Katie still has kids in the district. I had kids in the district. You talk about moving kids around. Miranda, that's an emotional subject for parents. Why is it so important then to get parents involved, and what does that look like in your world?
It really is emotional. One of the things that Dave and I talk about a lot with the parents and the board is that when we're looking at all of these, dots on the map and geocoding these kids, we know they're not just dots. These are human lives that are impacted
100%.
by these decisions that we're making. So having the parents involved in that, we know that moving one kid can impact 5 people in the family, if you've got kids at different ages.
Yeah.
So having parents involved, we can better quantify the impact on the kids. And then, like Dave said, it gives them the chance to create the boundaries. We give them where are the developments, where are the students, where are the boundaries now, and then they sit down and come up with a plan.
It's pretty amazing, too, to think about how much opportunity there was for community parent-patron input. Like a ton. I think we hosted town halls all over the district, and our district's huge. We had feedback surveys available. You have the committee who's proposing. There was, like a blue proposal and a gray proposal or something like that. The
right.
School board heard it 3 times. Parents had the opportunity to come to school board meeting. I mean, that's a lot of input.
We had more input. Just anecdotally, we had more input on this process than I think we've ever had on a boundary change.
Oh, really?
We, by policy, we are supposed to have 3 public hearings, and we had 6 public hearings. We also had an online map that we've never done before. We had an online hub where we kept an update of information flowing out to families. videos from the board meetings, maps with sliders where they could really get in and touch the data, explanations of why things were changing and what our process is, and surveys embedded on the page for them to give feedback. We did everything we could to collect the data. And we also used the feedback to make changes as we went through those different iterations.
I think you were saying before we started recording, initially, like the first proposal had something like almost 700 students would be impacted.
962.
960, almost 1,000.
Yeah.
And then we ended up with how many? Like
574.
So cut it in half.
Yeah.
That's impressive to do. I don't know that you could do that just sitting in your office looking at dots on a map.
No, I couldn't do it by myself.
No, and they provide, I can think of a particular neighborhood where they provided input that we would have never picked up on. And one of the pieces of input was, they might live a little ways away from a particular school, but that whole neighborhood has developed a pattern of walking to their school. Oh. It made more sense on a map that they went that we moved them to school A.
But we want kids walking.
We want kids walking.
Exercise.
And we wouldn't have known that. Like we can't drive every neighborhood. But the parents in the survey were able to provide that feedback. They gave testimony and not in a impassioned way, but in a way that
did you know?
Very by the way, we do this. Yeah. And the answer is Miranda and I would turn to each other and the committee would meet well, of course we'll make that change. Like we want people to walk to school. We didn't know you walked to school from that neighborhood. So keep walking to that school.
It's better for the community as a whole. Not just, it's great for the kids. Like we see better student income or impact when kids walk to school. They have that. They do better academically. It's also good for the community because it reduces traffic in the community. So good school planning is good for the whole community, not just the parents and students.
Oh, I love that.
And it's such an important job. Yeah.
And so like something else that I think that came back out of all of the feedback was the kind of the grandfathering in. Do you want to explain that a little bit? Because I know that made a lot of families happy.
Yeah. So grandfathering is when a student is already at a school and they live in an area that's been rezoned, but we allow them to stay at the school that they were zoned to before, if they want. So it's an option for families. Transportation's not provided, but it gives them the choice to stay, and they're not considered a transfer. So if they want to participate in sports, they can still participate without those rules about transferring because they are enrolled there and they're grandfathered in there.
And is that grandfathering just for the final grade, correct? So like elementary would be like for fifth graders and middle school would be for eighth graders?
That's very close, Katie.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to put misinformation out.
No, that is true. In elementary, any students that are in fourth grade and being affected can stay in fifth grade if they choose. There won't be a bus for them. And any students that are currently in seventh grade can stay for eighth grade.
Okay.
And then the only high school we had affected this year, and we went back and forth with the group a little bit on this, but we ultimately looked at the numbers and said that the students that we were rezoning to Eagle High School, we still had enough capacity at Owyhee, even though we don't have a lot of capacity at Owyhee. We had enough for those 150 students that if they so choose, anybody currently at Owyhee that was going to be affected and go to Eagle could be grandfathered if they choose.
Oh, that's great. It's really hard to change schools in high school.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's part of the emotional aspect of it and all the things. What did you guys learn from this process? I know that you've gone above and beyond, and it's part of our job to communicate some of this out as well. Miranda, what did you learn from this process, doing it a little bit differently this time?
Yeah, so I learned, and I say this as a parent myself, but as a parent, as an employee, speaking to so many parents can be kind of scary sometimes. Like you're impacting their babies, and I am a parent, so I understand that.
Mama Bear comes out.
I understand that coming out. But I did learn that when we involve them early and often, and we have multiple ways for them to either come to meetings or talk online or send us emails, we had such kind parents.
That's
parents
so cool.
the parents that responded to the surveys, that emailed, that called, they were all so kind. They cared. They were passionate, but they were so kind
and respectful.
Yeah, and so it was great to see. I really learned that increased communication can can benefit us just in the relationship that we have with the parents of,
right, and
of
the
our
rough
kids
edges
here.
can be kind of
And
sawed down, and
we say that all the time on here when we get to speak with our colleagues, that it's not really like West Ada and the parents. You know what I mean? We're partners, and we all work together to do what's best for kids. And so, like you said, it's just like any relationship, right? You have to have that open, frequent communication. So I think we got this one right. Good job, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Any big takeaways for you, Dr. Reinhart?
I think just picking up maybe on what Miranda and Katie both said, I really like what you said, Katie, that it's not just us that's West Ada.
Yeah.
It is really all of us that are West Ada. And when we saw that group come together week after week, a very dedicated group and very professional group, what I learned is they really can solve problems with us. That the community making some recommendations a lot of times really is best. And so it was a fun process. And we're just getting started. We'll be able to address other parts of the district in the
It's not like we're going to stop growing anytime soon, right?
No,
I mean, let's be honest. Yeah.
We grow in areas, and other areas age out. In other words, people stay in a neighborhood and their kids move on, but they're in there because they like living here. So, so some schools get smaller, and we have to adjust.
Sure. Well, those parents who are watching, where can people go to keep on getting information? We still have our stuff on our website.
We have the planning hub is what we've been calling it. So on our webpage, on the front page, there's a timely topic, and it'll take you to the planning hub, and that's where all of the 26-27 planning happened on that page, where parents can go in and see any of the information that they need for this process. And
I just want to give a shout out to that hub too, real quick. As a community liaison, I had quite a few parents reach out to me and be like, this is going to, early on in the process, this is going to affect my kids. I would take them and walk them through the hub and show them the slider map, and they'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Never mind, I was reading it wrong, or I didn't realize that was there.
Sure.
So resources are amazing.
We had a parent that said that they were moved and they were upset about it, and they'd submitted a survey that they were upset, and then they went and toured the new school. And they wrote back and said, just ignore my survey response. The school let me come and do a tour, and I love it. We're really excited about moving to that school. And so that's another resource. Parents just can call the school that their kid's being rezoned to and ask, can we come see the building? What clubs do you have? They can go ahead and start becoming part of that community now.
Right. How cool is it for our principals and our buildings to welcome people in like that? How gratifying is that to you? Maybe gratifying might not be the right word, but how cool is that for you to see?
It's been really impressive. The principals have been a part of this process too. We involved them early and got their feedback, and they came to the town halls with us, and it was just such a well-rounded process, I think, this time. And it's something that we've taken and we're going to use as a framework going forward to improve the planning process the West Ada way.
That's awesome.
I love it. Is there anything, we're kind of keeping this to a very high level, anything we haven't touched on that we should touch on, or did we kind of cover it?
We just want to thank all the parents and all the families of our school district that have been so good at providing input. And it's just really been a great process. And I think one of the things that I also learned is that no matter what school your son or daughter goes to in West Ada, it's going to be a really good school. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a really good school.
And principals who care, and teachers who care, and the counselors, and the whole nine. Yeah.
And I think people will see that, and we're looking forward to it.
That's cool. Well, thank you both for all that you do, and for taking the time to do this with us as well. Well, Katie, we have a special little student pulse section coming up too.
We have a great student pulse section up next for you. We have two outstanding young women from IFA, Idaho Fine Arts Academy, and they kind of give us the inside scoop, so it's going to be great.
Stick around. We can't wait to introduce you to our friends from IFA.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Go to YouTube, search West Ada School District, and like and subscribe today.
All right, here we are with another Student Pulse episode, and we have our friends from Idaho Fine Arts Academy, also known as IFA. Welcome, Alexa and Rosalia.
Thank you.
Great to have you both here. Yeah. So you're both vocal majors. Tell me a little bit about Rosalia. Tell me about being a vocal major. Why did you choose that major?
So I chose to be a vocal major. It was pretty much a non-negotiable for me when I was auditioning for the school.
Okay.
Singing has always been my
That's your jam.
chosen thing. And I almost switched to dance, but then I ended up staying with the vocal program, and I just really love it. I love that our vocal teacher will always say, it's not a choir. It's not a choir. She'll get so mad if people call us a choir. But it is true. I really enjoy that we get to experience choir music, and we also get to experience a lot of solo opportunities and small group opportunities. That's what I enjoy.
Performing and learning how to perform and all all
Absolutely.
That's
Okay,
cool.
so you said you and we'll get to you in a second, Alexa. I want to clarify.
She's following up.
You said when you auditioned, what grade were you in? What grade did you start at IFA?
I auditioned in 8th grade going into 9th grade.
Okay, so just for high school, not
Yes.
middle school. Got it.
I wish I knew about it earlier.
And that's we have the podcast. Like we got to let people know. That
starting
IFA
in
is
6th
so
grade.
cool. Yeah.
And
yeah.
my little sister started in 6th grade. So
that's
she
cool.
gets the full 7 years.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, Alexa, you just told us that you recently changed to vocal. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've been a dance major for 5.5 years, and I love the dance department with my whole heart. But my future is hopefully in musical theater. I've been doing it my whole life, and I hope to do more. And it just made sense to switch at the time, and I've loved it. It's been a short 2 months, but it's been excellent. And I've had the luxury of being at IFA since 6th grade.
Oh,
so
very cool.
I'll have
Very
the full
cool.
7 years. I've loved every minute of it. And yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been the greatest school, the greatest environment for me.
Yeah, well, okay, so you're a junior, so you'll get, 2 pretty full years of vocal
Yeah.
under your belt.
Heck
So that's
yeah.
just
Heck
more
yeah.
tools in your toolbox.
I love it. All right. Well, okay. So our topics. We've got 3 magic topics. Who's going to choose our first topic?
Do you want to go ahead?
Sure.
Alexa is going.
Oh, this is actually for you, because this was our Kick Out Polio Interact event, our Interact co-president over here.
Okay, Interact
Yes.
co-president, tell us about this Kick Out Polio event.
So the Kick Out Polio event, we held it earlier in the year. It was still warm out, which was nice.
Yeah.
We, as the Interact Club, we call ourselves like Baby Rotary. So the
Okay.
Rotary Club, their mission is to eradicate polio. And so they hold an event every year that's a kickball game where they raise money to donate to polio eradication missions. And so we decided we were going to team with Owaihi's Interact Club, which was very new at the time. It's only been around for a year.
Owaihi's Club?
Yes.
Okay. So there was some learning curve stuff happening. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So they really wanted to do this event, and they didn't really have all of the members to make it happen because they're very new. So they decided to reach out, which I thought was super cool. We've never really
collaborated
with other Interact
cool.
clubs, which was really nice. So we, instead of a kickball game, we did a soccer game, but we did it in bubble balls.
So like those giant
Like hamster balls.
Those things are awesome.
And so both teams were just struggling the whole time.
I
But
kind
it
of want to
was
throw up just
very
thinking
fun.
about it, just to be
Yes.
completely honest. So
No,
I probably
it
shouldn't
was
say that on the
awesome.
podcast, but I'm just going to be honest.
It was awesome. And we raised a good chunk of money. I think we raised over $500. And we want to make it an annual thing. So I think it was a very good success.
That's so fun. And I love that one of our big comprehensive high schools is partnering,
Yes.
with one of
Yeah.
our smaller schools, and you guys can have a
Yeah.
great opportunity.
And it's interesting because we're one of the smaller schools, but we have one of the biggest Interact clubs in the Valley. So it was interesting collaborating with a smaller Interact club and seeing what it's like.
Yeah, the roles got reversed a little bit in terms. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
I love it. I
Okay,
love it.
so now, Rosalia, do you want to pick one? And then maybe Alexa
Yeah.
will know the answer.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh, the West
You're
Data
picking
Food Drive.
for each other.
Yes, okay. Tell us about that food drive that
So,
happened this fall.
We, as IFA, we tend to find things out at the last minute. It's just always been kind of a thing with our school. And about 2 weeks in, we learned of the West Data Food Drive. And this happened last year too. And we always want to make things work, especially like in our small school. But that's always, especially as a student council, hard to like, okay, how can we really dive into this and really get people invested? So we make it a competition, and it's the start of the school year thing.
Okay.
There's 7 art disciplines at IFA. And so we make it a competition between each major. So whichever major brings in the most amount of cans wins.
Okay.
And we have maybe a week to do it. And it just brings in so much food because everyone wants to be the winner.
The competition kicks
and
in.
It's
and
so easily justified because it's such a good cause, but it's, like this year, our contemporary majors won by 1 can.
They beat vocal.
1 can.
No bitterness over there. I can tell,
We
Rosalia.
won last year.
I have to bring a little bit of context into this because this was a district-wide competition, and typically our activities and athletics director who kind of sets this up, he sends it out to all of our ADs who are only at our comprehensive high school. So you guys don't know about it until like last minute.
Well, the 11th hour.
The
sure.
11th hour.
Yeah.
But you raise almost 2 times the amount
cool.
of like weight of food of any other high school in the district. So that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Feather in
and
the cap.
our biggest way is we just make it a competition, and our environment is so funny because they have to be the winner. There's no other option. You have to be the winner. So they go out, we send out a final count. All the cans are due at 3rd period, but we send out, okay, here's the current standings right before lunch. And
Step your game up.
right next to a Winco, and everyone is booking it to the Winco.
I love it.
Buying cans.
That's awesome.
Those
That's
are
awesome.
generous hearts. I appreciate that.
It's always a treat, and it's a great way to start out the school year. And it's one of my
cool.
favorite parts, and it was my first event that I got to do as president this year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is super
How many different majors do you have?
I was just
sorry.
I was just going to say, she said 7.
Oh, okay,
But can you
7?
name, do you think you can name all 7?
Yeah, for sure.
gosh.
So dance, vocal, theater, film, classical music, contemporary music, and art.
That's so cool.
That is so cool.
That our the students throughout our district have the opportunity to do that. It's just anyway.
As young as
it's
6th
cool.
grade. And this is something new I learned today, is that you can switch your major if you find that you want to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
know that was
awesome.
an option.
That's awesome. All right, final
Okay.
topic. Where are we going with this thing?
Alexa, go ahead.
Alexa?
Let's see.
Oh, our Toby Gad masterclass and show. So this was one of the biggest things our schools got to do. I don't know if you guys know who Toby Gad is, but he is a really famous songwriter. He writes
Mr.
for
Housel was telling me.
Yeah, Beyonce, Madonna,
Those little
Fergie.
names. Yeah.
Those small little names you might have heard. No, and we brought in a bunch of artists around it, and we built up a show for it just around all of his music that he's created that we've learned, but we didn't know was written by him at the Egyptian Theater, so historic theater downtown. And
What a cool scene.
yeah, it involved, dance. Our classical majors played, our contemporary majors opened the show, and it was really like, you can talk about it all you want about, this is how you can become a professional artist. Here's how you could do it. But to talk to someone who's doing it and who has been doing it for 20 years and all like seeing his song being sung by Beyonce at the Grammys and just him having a conversation with you and all these different artists, it's really inspirational because the arts are so small as it is, and being able to like look beyond and see the vast like options that there are for us as artists was really cool.
Yeah, I think your student council shared with us one time when Dr. Bub and I were visiting that it was so cool to see all the nuance and the different opportunities, like different jobs that are within the arts that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Like people probably just traditionally think like I could be a singer, I could be a dancer, but there's like so many positions within those disciplines where you could find a great career.
Incredible.
Yeah, and just one thing I'll say is being able to, because with the guest artist, Toby Gad was a songwriter, but there was also a Broadway performer, someone who became famous through social media, and someone who became famous through, I think...
American Idol.
Yeah, American Idol.
Gosh.
And
Yeah.
so it was like seeing the different avenues of which, especially the social media one, was really interesting because that's how a lot of current performers are getting their start in the industry.
Oh, and it's constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so
See,
cool.
and something you guys probably don't think about because you're not quite taxpayers yet. But I mean,
It'll come.
I just
parents talk
filed
about
mine
this,
for the
this.
first time.
Did you?
Oh, lovely.
Welcome to adulthood.
You seem happy about that.
But it's amazing that you guys have these opportunities, right? Like,
It is wonderful.
Like Ken and I are taxpayers in the district, and I think I pay like $14, $15 a year for all these
Right.
opportunities. And I have 3 kids in the district taking advantage of this. Like, it blows my mind.
That's
No,
really
it
cool.
was incredible. And performing at the Egyptian, it was something we got to do with our musical last year.
Yes.
And
That's
that was
such a great
it
venue.
was so fun.
so cool, and it really fit our musical last year, and we built this connection, and we're hoping to be able to do it again with a couple of other shows. And it's, we've gotten to perform at the Morrison and now the Egyptian. It's really just being in an historic theater with people that you look up to, in situations that you admire, that you aspire to be at, performing with them, doing solos, small groups, dancing. Like I got to choreograph something for it.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was incredible.
Okay. So very cool.
Do you have any upcoming performances you want to plug? Like, I mean, this is your opportunity.
Rosalia's got
Take it
this.
away.
Yeah.
I love our all-school musical because it is like, we do one every year, and it is one of the only performances where anyone from any of the disciplines can audition. And it really is like anyone. Like last year, we had a film major who was a lead who had never sung before at all in the history of the school, and he was incredible.
Way to go him for stepping up.
Yeah,
Holy
right.
moly.
It was really amazing. But
That's
this year,
cool.
we're doing Pippin.
Oh, fun.
I'm in
Yeah.
the show. Alexa's choreographing. And so that is the biggest thing that I would plug right now.
Is there a date for that?
First and second weekends of April.
Okay, first and second weekend of April.
Very cool. And I'll put a link in the show notes, just getting you to IFA. And anyway, you can learn more about what's going on, the cool stuff y'all are doing.
IFA's special in the fact that there is a show every week.
Yes.
Like we could honestly
That's what you do.
Yeah. There's
yeah.
always a performance, and there's always something. There's always live music. There's a play. There's something. But I think our musical is special because it's not like sanctioned off necessarily. Like even when we do a collab show, it's like, oh, the dancers are dancing, the singers are singing, the contemporary majors are playing, but it's anyone can sing, anyone can dance. If you're in the show, you get to be a part of all of it, regardless of your major. And we don't get to do a lot of the regardless of your major because you're there for your discipline, you know?
Sure, makes sense. That is what you guys are doing. I mean, IFA is real close here to the District Service Center, and it's cool to kind of pop over there sometimes and just see the cool things that are happening over there. It's neat stuff. Okay, last question. Yes. What do you wish? We've kind of been ending all of our student pulses this way. What do you wish adults knew about being a teenager now? Rosalia, can you want to start?
I think that now, especially one thing that is rapidly changing is just sort of the expectation for excellence. I think back to my mom and my dad talking about their high school years. Maybe one or two people would have all A's in the whole school, or one or two people would take AP classes. And I find that my experience as a high schooler, it is a lot more competitive, and it is a lot more like you need a million extracurriculars and and all A's and a bunch of AP classes, and it's doable, but I think it's also something that should be considered when we talk about high schoolers and just their free time and their mental health.
And balance is so important. Yeah.
That's so good because we notice it. I mean, anecdotally, friends will talk about it.
Sure.
It's like, gosh, these kids are so busy. They seem so overwhelmed. There's so much on their plate. But you're right. It has gotten increasingly more competitive.
Well, people are going to get tired of hearing me talk about the anxious generation, but it's a book I just recently read, and one of the things the author talks about is the importance of play and the importance of free play, and sometimes I think we lose that, especially in younger years. You know, just being kids, and that kind of extends on to what you're saying too. And anyway, people are going to get tired of me hearing that, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Alexa,
when we were talking about it earlier, mine also kind of bled into that. It's the pressure to have to be passionate about whatever you're doing because everything is very saturated. So to stand out, you have to be excellent. And that like you are so pressured to have that passion to be excellent so you can stand out. Like I know that both me and I know Rose is going to an excellent college, and I hope to go somewhere excellent as well. And we've done a lot in our high school time to stand out. And we've had to, we're both trying our best to excel at our art form, at our multiple art forms. We're both dancers. And there's so much pressure to, if you want to excel, if you want to go beyond whatever is like normal, you have to be excellent. And so when you're, say, like a child has a passion, they kind of ultimately have to have a pressure on it for it to not be so saturated. And there's even in sports, like
100%.
I'm lucky enough that I got to take advantage of the fact that I did a varsity sport for my first 2 years. I did swim.
Oh, very cool.
At Meridian, and I loved it. But there's a lot of swimmers. So to be excellent, to be maybe D1, D2, D3. You have to be so excellent to stand out.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. It's like you can't just, I notice this all the time with like, I have 3 sons and like they can't just play sport to just have fun. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when I was in middle school, high school, like you could just try stuff and be like, okay, that didn't work. Or like you could just make the team and do it. But now you have to be like, if you're not in that club sport by the time you're in 3rd grade, you're forget it. You know, like just, why can't we just have fun?
I don't know. Yeah, being well-rounded. I love hearing you all talk about that because I think it's pressure. And I think being well-rounded is important too, though. Anyway, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's really important.
We've both been lucky enough to be, vocalists and dancers and well-rounded at school and student council and interact. But it's a lot. And there's no denying that. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
Yeah. And I think that IFA specifically, though we are an art school, one thing that I love about it is that it focuses on academics. A lot of kids play sports, and I think because we're a smaller school, students get the opportunity to stand out more often. When I went to a bigger school, I found that I was only good at one thing, and that's what I was known for. But being at IFA has given me the opportunity to show off who I am as a person, for sure.
Love it. Well, I can't thank you enough, both of you, for taking the time to come here and be a part of that. A part of this. It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to add? I think you've done a lovely job.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well, keep doing what you're doing and keep being well-rounded, and can't wait to see what you all do next. It's pretty darn cool.
Thank you so much.
Well, how amazing are Alexa and Rosalia? I get more and more excited about our Student Pulse because it is so cool to hear from these students. And in IFA, if you don't know anything about IFA, jump on our website and check out. Because
go look them up.
Oh my gosh, the opportunities. And I think those young ladies expressed some of that so well.
Well, and it's so fun that we have students from each of our different high schools because you kind of get a flavor of the culture of what's going on there and the great things they're doing. And these ladies are no exception. They are talented both academically and artistically.
100%.
So it was really, really, really fun to get to chat with them.
And it's just it's interesting that you use the word culture because the culture is so different at all of our different schools. And so if you have a child that is looking for something different, regardless of what that is,
there's
it's
options.
cool that West Ada has so many options.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, thank you as always for being here. Please subscribe wherever you listen to get your podcast, Spotify, Google, or Amazon. If you listen on iTunes, please rate us and leave a review. You can also go to YouTube and subscribe to the podcast there as well. To learn more or listen to past podcasts, go to westada.org/podcast. And the train keeps rolling. We got another
rolling. We always have another great episode lined up for you. We're going to have some guests to talk about unified sports and Special Olympics and those kind of great programs happening because we have some pretty special programs in our schools.
It is so neat to see how students with maybe intellectual disabilities and those without can get paired up and to see lives change. Anyway, if you don't know about that, we're excited to bring that.
Definitely going to want to tune into that podcast. So, and as always, we love hearing from you. So if you'd like to share a comment about a previous episode or maybe give us some suggestions or ideas, things like that, want to reach out to Ken and I, you can do that on communicate@westada.org.
Absolutely. And I know, listen, we threw a lot of information at you today, a lot of data. In the show notes, I'll be sure and put all the boundary links in there for you because you really to be able to go in there and look at the data, that's something that we want to provide for you all as well as our patrons. So we'll put that in there as well. And as always, we're so glad that you're here to check it out.
Thank you to our great guests today, and we'll see you next time.